So the Eagles did a thing on stuffing, and I hope it just, again, you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. The dressing, whether or not dressing is stuffing is dressing is stuffing, whatever. I don't get it. I've been told in the past it's a Southern thing. A lot of the people from the South enjoy calling the stuffing dressing. I don't understand it, but you know what? I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their table. So you do you. But welcome into the Farzy Show, everyone. We got an Eagles-Packers preview. People really excited about the black helmets, the blackout. I know a lot of Eagles fans are looking at it like, it wouldn't be the first time we had a blackout at the Lincoln Financial Field. We've all had ourselves some good times in the past there. We hope the Eagles season continues with great success as it has to this point. We got to watch the Giants fall to the Cowboys yesterday. Cowboys were pretty much on point, little not rusty, but definitely not sharp in the early goings of that game. They eventually righted the ship for themselves, and they improved to one win better than those New York Football Giants, and the Giants fall to 7-4. It was just a heck of a game to watch yesterday. The Vikings kept pace; they're 9-2 now in the season, as are the Cowboys. So the NFC still looks pretty tough right there after the Eagles are at number one. One of the things that got brought up earlier in the week that we didn't get a chance to touch on was Jalen Hurts' mindset surrounding this season. Jalen Hurts facing adversity in that game against the Colts, and as a team, him rising above. And one of the things Jalen Hurts likes to talk about is temperature. I remember just before the season started, he had talked about setting the thermostat. We were talking about thermostats. And he likes to talk about how he's always in control of the situation and how he can always set the right temperature. He can be the thermostat. We'll get into that today. We'll also get into how great this locker room has come together because Nick Sirianni talked about that at length during his press conference the other day as well. But we'll let you hear from Jalen Hurts coming up in just a second. But first, I don't like dressing, for instance, at the Thanksgiving table. I don't understand the excitement over the blackout. Are you excited about the black? Let me know in the comments. Are you excited about the Eagles wearing black helmets? They'll be in all black while they're out there on the field on Sunday night in prime time against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. It doesn't do anything for me. I've seen black jerseys before. I imagine the helmet really won't do much for me either, but people seem to be really excited about this. The Eagles released this video, and you take a look at this, and tell me if maybe you're a little excited. Tell me if you're very excited about it. Maybe if you're like me and you're not excited at all, tell me if this got to you a little bit in terms of excitement, but just take a look at this.
Car 4133, you seen this? Captain, what are you talking about? It appears to be a blackout. Everything is all black.
That do anything for you? For the people on the podcast, it was a bunch of people in the black helmets. All right, so I got a couple of people that are hitting me up right now. Jim is off today. The Black Friday. I'm sure he's I don't know, it's Sears or something. But a couple of people right out of the gate. Let's get Mo up here. Mo, very excited. I'm hyped. Even the smallest alterations to the traditional look is exciting. Okay. Eagles 868 TT, good hype video. I agree. I think it's a great hype video. The Eagles do a wonderful job with all their hype videos. I just don't. For me, any alteration, any change leads me to think, well, why not just get to Kelly Green? Like, I'm not to be that guy. And I know a lot of people are like, they won the Super Bowl at the Midnight Green. Who cares about Kelly Green anymore? A lot of people, to answer that question. A lot of people. But anytime there's an alteration, and the helmet, this is the big sticking point here. The sticking point for me is the helmet has been the excuse of Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles organization to not go back to the color green. Well, there's rules about the helmet. It's a safety issue because you have to match the helmet and the jersey, so we can't go to the Kelly Green. And now they changed the helmet, and there's still no Kelly Green. Kelly Green's down the line. I understand they said it's coming. That's great, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't like it. No, not that I don't like the black jerseys. I just don't like the excuse has been the helmet the whole time, and now we're changing the helmet. And what has come before the jersey, what has come before the Kelly Green is the black jersey. So, hey. I remember Connor Barwin a couple of years ago when they wore the black jersey. A while ago. Connor Barwin wore the black jersey, and he said he felt faster. He felt like he was faster wearing the black jersey. Whatever. I feel I've spent too much time with the uniform already, but nonetheless. T-Bro, same thing got me. It was Jason Kelsey in the Batman mask. You just saw the silhouette. For the people on the podcast, it was just a silhouette of Jason Kelsey wearing the Batman mask. So yeah. And T-Bro, thank you for reminding me. Kevin as well. I'll say good morning to you also. To all the people that did join the Farzy Show party on Friday, we had a pretty steady Dan was in there. Dan Schwartz, T-Bro was in there. April was in there. Ari was in there. You guys, thank you. It was great hanging out with you. It was great catching up with you. Slight oversight by the Farzy Show crew here. You can only have like 5 people on the stream on StreamYard. It's not like Zoom where you can just keep on piping people in. We thought we could have 10 people. So there was one special guest in particular that couldn't make it in the room. We're a professional organization. But nonetheless, Hollis Thomas sends his regards. But thanks to everyone that did join that. So that's the hype video. Let me know if you're hyped. Let me know if you're excited about the Eagles in all black. I think it'll look cool, but I'm not all bonkers over it like some people might be. What I will be bonkers over is a win against the Green Bay Packers and the Eagles improving to 10-1 on the season. So here are 5 things to watch for in this game, 5 things to know about when it comes to facing the Green Bay Packers. 1, we all know already they're having a bad year. They are no bueno. All right, 4-7 coming into this game. They're coming off their latest loss. They have lost 6 of their last 7 games. And in the one game they won, I thought, oh my goodness gracious, this Aaron Rodgers guy has found his latest target. He has found his latest target. He has found his new Devontae Adams. And that hasn't been the case. Christian Watson is who I'm going to be paying attention to in this game. 5 touchdowns over the last 2 games for the Green Bay Packers, 3 in one, 2 in the other. He's been doing a hell of a job getting open. And what's really funny is 2 weeks ago, you see him running down the sidelines, and he puts his arms up to catch a pass, and he can't find the ball. Aaron Rodgers just looks over at the sideline, and I like somebody describing Aaron Rodgers' look at the sideline like Jim in The Office, looking at the camera with his face, right? And that's kind of the look that Aaron Rodgers gave the good people of the world when he looked at the camera with that kind of look on his face, like, what am I supposed to do with this? Then he continued to go back to Christian Watson. Christian Watson caught 3 touchdown passes in that game, caught another 2 against Tennessee Titans last week. Definitely someone I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. But whenever I think about a good wide receiver, even when I think about a good quarterback, or I don't know, even a back-to-back MVP quarterback, a 4-time MVP quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, yes, respect is due. Certainly they could turn it on at any moment and they could just beat everybody. But they are throwing into 2 of the best defensive backs in the NFL, in James Bradbury and Darius Slay. They have elevated each other's play beyond. And just Josiah Scott coming in to play the nickel position, taking over for a guy like Avonte Maddox, has done a pretty good job of doing it. Is he Avonte Maddox? No, but he has been at worst, he has been serviceable, meaning not a detriment. He's gone out there and he has held his own, which is great to see for a guy that has really, fought for everything that he's had in his, albeit brief, NFL career. So it's great to see him contributing in that way. So even though you're talking about a hot wide receiver and you're talking about a 4-time MVP quarterback, I still think, first and foremost, you're throwing into this secondary. So Christian Watson's a guy I'll keep an eye on. Lazard's certainly a guy I'll be keeping an eye on in this. When it comes to the passing game of the Green Bay Packers, number one thing to be looking at there. Let's flip on the defensive side of the ball here. Preston Smith, 5 sacks on the season. Jair Alexander, 2 interceptions on the season. Oh, no, he does have 3. 3 interceptions on the season. It's the next guy that only has two, a name that you'll love. Those are two guys on the defensive side of things that I'm going to be looking at when it comes to the Green Bay Packers there. So you got Alexander and you got Smith. And I'll mention one more name that we all know here in Philadelphia, Rasul Douglas. Yeah, that Rasul Douglas. He's put a couple of good years together in Green Bay. Doing a hell of a job. They tried him at safety here in Philadelphia. He was a natural safety. They put him in the corner. It didn't work out so well. Rasul Douglas, one thing I always respect about his game, he's not afraid to play a physical style of cornerback for the Packers. He's got 2 picks this year, and it's just one of those names that I have a feeling. It's just one of those names that I feel like we're going to be watching this game, and we're going to be saying, damn it, Rasul Douglas? Like, there's going to be one play that happens in this game that's going to affect the outcome, not win or lose it, but it's going to be noticeable. I'll just say that. It's going to be noticeable. And Rasul Douglas is going to make a play for the Green Bay Packers, and we're all just going to go, of course, friggin' Rasul Douglas. So just be aware of that because he has turned himself into, and he wasn't a terrible corner here by any means. He had himself some struggles here in Philadelphia, no doubt, but it's just one of those names from our past that I feel like is going to come back and haunt us for at least a minute. Oh, Rasul Douglas? Like one of those type deals. My name that always jumps to mind to me outside of football is Rod Barajas. All right. Anyway. There you go. All right. Let's keep it moving right along here. I mentioned the rest when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. They haven't played since last Thursday night. I mentioned the record. I mentioned Preston Smith. I mentioned Jair Alexander. I mentioned Rasul Douglas, Christian Watson. Here's the thing. And I think it's futile to mention Aaron Rodgers because I think we all know what the deal is with Aaron Rodgers. But I will say this. I like how after they've dropped now, beep, boop, bop, boop, boop, 6 games in the last 7, all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers is talking to the media. Well, I broke my thumb in week 5. I'm sorry, what? Hold on, Aaron, let me take that down. You broke your thumb in week 5? Yeah, I just play with a broken thumb, and so it's tough to play with a broken thumb. We've known for a while that Aaron Rodgers is a weird dude. But, he has gotten in recent memory, just annoying. He is really getting into the annoying factor. And I think part of it goes into the individual success without translating to team success. 4 MVPs, 1 Super Bowl. And that Super Bowl was 12 years ago. It's not getting bounced out against the Packers or against the Buccaneers. And true, going for that field goal might not have been the best situation at that point in time. Getting bounced out against a team like the San Francisco 49ers that I think most people understand who really follow the sport, understand how much Aaron Rodgers hates the San Francisco 49ers for drafting Alex Smith and not him. And then he ends up getting bounced out of the playoffs last year by the San Francisco 49ers. There's just things about Aaron Rodgers' game that have started to. I still respect him. Still, my favorite quarterback in the NFL to watch, not named Jalen Hurts. But answer that question for me. Has Aaron Rodgers entered into the atmosphere of the guy's kind of annoying? Because I used to work with a lady, Mags. What's up, Mags? On Sunday Night Football, and Mags was great. But Mags was the most anti-Aaron Rodgers person out there. And I always loved Aaron Rodgers, thought he was great. He was my favorite quarterback to watch in the NFL, still very close to being that. But she would always talk about how he's a choke artist, how he sucks, how he's overrated, and this whole thing. And I'd be like, damn, Mags, the guys at that point had won 2 MVPs. I'm like, 2-time MVP, Super Bowl champion. She's like, yeah, that Super Bowl championship was 7 years ago at the time. And I wasn't at all on that side. And she was from Wisconsin. And I'm starting to agree with Mags a little bit when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, just in terms of, I don't know about overrated, but talking to a guy that in terms of winning is certainly overhyped. You would think, by the way, some people talk about him like he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion or whatever. But Aaron Rodgers definitely getting in the annoying area. And the thumb injury, well, I broke my thumb. Sorry, what? So there. Tell me if I'm crazy when it comes to that. And then finally, here's one thing, and the Eagles have positioned themselves perfectly for this. But I was reading up on the Packers and what they do when they're actually winning. And I feel like a lot of times people talk about when they run the football, they win. And it's I think that's true for everybody, because when you're winning, especially late, you're going to run the football and bleed the clock a little bit. So, yeah, of course you're running. But the Packers put that in a whole new context because when they run the ball really well, like 200 yards, they win. So although you've got Ndamukong Suh, although you've got Linville Joseph, although you just signed Anthony Rush, although you already have Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, although you already have those guys in the middle of the line of scrimmage, it's probably still a good idea to not let Aaron Jones get going. It's probably still a good idea to not let A.J. Dillon get going because when they do get going, they control the game. And that's how they have gotten their wins. 3 of their 4 wins have come with huge running days from the running back duo of Dillon and Jones. So that's just one thing I'd like to see our man Jonathan Gannon be aware of. Now, the trick is, do you want to have guys up front and maybe allow Aaron Rodgers to throw over your head, throw the deep ball to a guy like Watson or Lazard, for instance, and have them get those quick points? Or do you want to man up towards the line of scrimmage and either try to get after Aaron Rodgers, stop that run game, or have guys do the famous play 10 yards off the wide receivers? It's going to be a pick your poison type of deal. But here's the thing. I don't see the poison in being that potent when it comes to this Packers team. Offensively speaking, they only score 18.4 points per game. That's a bottom 10 offense, quarterbacked by Aaron Rodgers. They don't average over 20 points per game. And 3 of their last 4 games, they haven't even reached 20 points. Aaron Rodgers-led offense. That's insane. And they're facing a pretty damn good defense in the Philadelphia Eagles. One of the best, as a matter of fact, in the NFL, allowing 16 points per game. I'm expecting the Eagles to win this game on Sunday night. I think you are expecting the Eagles to win this game on Sunday night. I see the Eagles notching their 10th win of the season. I think you're seeing the Eagles notching their 10th win of the season. I think ultimately the Philadelphia Eagles will beat the Green Bay Packers by a score of 31-14. And we feel pretty comfortable about the Eagles throughout this game. Yes, there might be that one play by Rasul Douglas that's really annoying. Yes, there'll be that one play by Aaron Rodgers. There we go. Oh, it's Aaron Rodgers. Great. They say one play. There might be like 3 plays that Aaron Rodgers makes in this game. We're like, Aaron Rodgers. And that's the way I think this cookie's going to crumble. 31-14, Eagles get the victory. What do we got here? RJ's chiming in. RJ, fine. What's up, RJ? I'm definitely not scared of any team after the Thanksgiving performance. Yeah, neither am I. I wanted the Giants to win yesterday over the Cowboys. And my man Ari hit me up on Twitter and asked me that same question. Who would I want to win out of the 2? And I wanted the Giants to win because I just see them as having less chance of sustained success later in the year. So I'd rather them have the win and the Cowboys take another loss because I see the Cowboys as a team that could get hotter towards the end of the season, whatever. So that didn't happen, unfortunately. But the Giants yesterday, one thing to keep in mind, they were very much banged up. They were missing 2 starting corners yesterday. They were missing Joe Feliciano, their starting center. Their right tackle was questionable going into the game, Tyree Phillips, and he ended up playing with a neck injury. But, just extremely banged up, that team going into yesterday's game. So I really didn't expect much from the Giants. And they put up more of a fight than I thought they did. They certainly put up more of a fight than I thought they did. So there you go. Here's what I got for you when it comes to Jalen Hurts and what he's been talking about over this week. And I really respect him. I've said all along that when it comes to Jalen Hurts, I wish you could take that guy's mindset, his mentality, his approach, his mental toughness, and put it in every player that ever played in Philadelphia. Hell, I wish most people had his mental toughness and fortitude. And in a day and age where we talk about mental health all the time, this guy is I think it's good that we praise people that are very strong when it comes to their mental toughness. And Jalen Hurts is that guy. So whether that's been people talking about his contract, people talking about trading for Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson or him versus Carson Wentz, right? Remember those days? Whatever it's been, he has maintained the course. He has maintained focus. And he has just said, I'm above it all, and I'm going to keep moving forward to control what I can control. So couple days ago, I believe this was Wednesday, he was asked about the adversity that he faces throughout the season and how great this team has come together to make things happen for themselves. And here he is talking about that adversity and what it's like to be able to overcome things like that.
I feel like if you have the right mentality, there you don't have to. It depends on how you look at it and what your mentality is. You know, you don't necessarily have to lose a game to come to reality. You could look yourself in the mirror after your so-called successes and reflect and be honest with yourself and say, what can I learn from? And, you know, I think that's what we try and do. And I think, you know, from this point on, I feel like we've learned from a lot. I feel like I've learned from a lot. You know, just being able to grow and take away from so much throughout this season. And, you know, I think for us, you know, we continue to, you know, control the things that we can, execute, you know, do the little things, alignment, knowing what our key is and doing it with the right technique and fundamentals. I think, you know, good things happen when we do that. So, you know, it's I think it's an ongoing reflection of that.
And ultimately, that's what you want to see from your quarterback. That's what you want to hear from your quarterback. So hopefully you're able to get that going as this video is shorting out on me, which is great. So that's what I want to see, or that's what I like seeing from Jalen Hurts each and every week. That's his mindset. That's his mentality. And when you have that in your quarterback, that means everything that's going to be happening during the season, that is adversity, whether that's getting down in a game like you did against the Vikings, whether that's getting down in a game like you did against the Colts, whether a lot of things were going wrong offensively speaking, because against the Colts, I'll finish this thought. But when a lot of things are going wrong offensively speaking, like they were against the Colts, it was like, all right, pushes come to shove in the fourth quarter. Jalen Hurts has got this. And that's how an MVP plays. And that's the way he played in that fourth quarter against the Colts. Now, one thing I will say about that game, to wrap up the conversation about the Colts game last week, was the defense played great. I know we've talked a lot about how the Eagles were bad, but you say that as about like the whole team. Defense is what kept that a game. The defense could have let that game get out of control. They didn't. They did their job. Howie Roseman was a star of the game as far as I'm concerned. He was a huge star of the game because he was able to go out there and get Linval Joseph. He was able to go out there and he was getting Ndamukong Suh. And the part that adds even more beauty to all of that is that Howie Roseman put together this roster that at the time was 8-1 and was a desirable place for Joseph and Suh to come to. So even more credit to Howie Roseman for all of that. But he went out there and he got what the Eagles needed. And they went on and they took on Jonathan Taylor and they played him phenomenally well. First play of the game, they were able to get in the backfield, make a play. As that drive went on, unfortunately, the Colts ended up running the football down the field. And then after that, Jonathan Allen averaged less than 4 yards per carry for the rest of the game after that first drive. That's pretty impressive. That's a hell of a job by them. They did a great job of defense throughout that game. But like I said, they weren't going to win that game without the offense scoring. And in that fourth quarter, Jalen Hurts came up with 2 touchdowns. One with the strike to Quez Watkins, the other with the run up the middle for the touchdown to take the lead. That's what you need from your quarterback. When you are facing adversity, you need him to rally the troops. You need him to have that focus that he had in the fourth quarter of that game and make sure you win that football game and leave Indianapolis with a win. Leave Indy with a win, as Nick Sirianni said afterwards. The other thing is the setting the temperature. With all that stuff falling at your feet, Jalen Hurts talked about making sure you're controlling the temperature.
No method to the madness. You know, I just try not to ever get too high, never get too low. And that's in every area of my game, you know. And, you know, you talk about the temperature of the room. I set the temperature. That's what it is. So I control the things that I can. I can control how I respond to something. I set the motion, and we just go, you know. And, you know, it's in the preparation. It's in the trust in the people around you. It's all inclusive of everybody around you.
Great to hear. Love to hear it. Couldn't agree more. There are things that I think separate the athletes from you and me as the mortals that we are. The thing that makes these guys superstar athletes, I shouldn't even say superstar athletes, but just professional athletes, like really good professional athletes. Like you can take guys and compare them skill-wise in terms of what they could physically be, what they're physically able to perform on the field. And a lot of those times, those numbers are very similar. And the point I always go to, quarterback A had known the fastest release of any quarterback ever. Quarterback B had the same release time, letting go of that football, right? All right, well, here in this experiment, quarterback A is Dan Marino. Quarterback B is Trent Edwards. Almost the same exact release time. Now, is Trent Edwards in any way, shape, or form Dan Marino? Absolutely not. But you take these little numbers, these little statistics, if you will, and you can say, oh, wow, they're able to do this at that same rate as the other guy? All right, well, then how is the one guy so much better than the other? Well, about a slew of other reasons why. But I believe the number one reason why is because you can't measure what's going through that athlete's head. And the mental toughness, the brilliance of an athlete is, I think, what separates them than every other athlete. The great athletes that are out there are able to process the information and make the best decision in that crucial half second of time that they have. Jalen Hurts might be one of those guys because he has the ability to slow things down around him and make the right decision, make the right play. That's how he's not turning the football over. That's how he is having the biggest leap forward. Because what Jalen Hurts, I've noticed, is what he's doing this year that is probably the biggest leap, and it has led to the success that the Eagles have had offensively, is that everything seems to be happening a lot slower around him. And the work that he put in the offseason allowed him to do this very crucial thing. It allowed him to react. Just react. Not think, then react. Just react. You don't see him going through that process, maybe holding on to the football a tad too long. Not that that was a huge problem for him last year, but it seems like what he is seeing in front of him, he is just able to react to and not have any panic about him, make the decision, and that decision is oftentimes the right decision. He's not panicking just to get rid of it. He's not panicking just to run. He is processing what's in front of him and reacting. And that, to me, is what has happened. It's probably, other than just overall accuracy, the biggest leap forward in his game is the smarts that I have seen this year. A lot of what he is doing is processing it before the snap. And that's where you would see, like in that Arizona Cardinals game, you saw way too many bubble screens. That's because what happened in that game was his pre-snap read. He was making his pre-snap read and going to that play time and time again. Whatever the Cardinals were doing, he felt like he had his only comfortable play was that bubble screen to Dallas Goedert, Quez Watkins, or Devontae Smith, or A.J. Brown. You were seeing that time and time again on the outside because his pre-snap read was telling him to do that. Since then, you really haven't seen it. But most of his stuff has come before the snap. And I think that is a huge step forward for Jalen Hurts. He reacts to it then in the play and makes the play and has put himself through all of it, through all the improvement, not just diagnosing what's in front of him, not just accuracy, not just leadership, all that stuff. He has put himself in the MVP conversation by making those improvements and those adjustments to his game. I said before this, I said at the end of last year, I'm never going to bet against a guy who A, has talent, and B, has a great work ethic. And Jalen Hurts has both those things. And, man, have they paid off so far for the Eagles. Having one of the greatest seasons of their entire existence. Hopefully they cap it off with a nice win as well on Sunday. So that's what I got for you. Preston Smith, I mentioned more than 5. Preston Smith, Jair Alexander, definitely guys to look at. In that game, Rasul Douglas, Christian Watson. The rest factor, I don't think plays in all that much, considering the Eagles are on a regular week. And even though it's maybe a couple more hours of rest because it's a Sunday night game. But I don't think it's that big a factor, even though the Packers only played a week ago Thursday, so they got the extended rest. But the run game is something I know the Eagles are going to have to keep in check, and it's a good thing they have a GM who went out and made sure he addressed the run game there. And as I said, even added another guy in Anthony Rush, who undrafted guy back with the Birds there. So that's what I got for you as far as the 5 things to look at for this game. We're going up against Green Bay Packers. Let me tell you guys right now about the great people at Manscaped, manscaped.com. Go to manscaped.com. use promo code Farzy for 20% off at manscaped.com. 20% off. Now, what do you get? Well, you can check out their Platinum Package 4.0. That's their best bundle yet because, fellas, you want to make sure you look good everywhere. And that's where Manscaped enters the conversation. With their lawnmower ear and nose hair trimmer, their weed whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, their weed whacker trimmer 4.0, make sure you check it out at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Farzy. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. How about the great people at Freestone Farm CBD, FreestoneFarmCBD.com. If you use CBD, if you like CBD, Freestone Farm CBD is the place to go. They have their insane tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. So enjoy, please. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off at Freestone Farm CBD, FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about the amazing people at Mojo? Download the Mojo app to your phone right now. It attaches a share price, a stock value to every player. Over 300 players, from running backs to tight ends, from wide receivers to quarterbacks. Each player has a stock price, a share price attached to them that rises and falls. Anything that can affect on-field play, any news can affect this player's share price. So enjoy all that Mojo has to offer on the Mojo app, available in New Jersey. Must be in New Jersey to trade on Mojo. Buy a player if there's a rookie out there about to break out. A guy like Christian Watson is a perfect example. His stock extremely low 3 weeks ago. He gets 5 touchdowns. Next thing you know, stock price rises. So if you like those guys, you can buy low, sell high, make yourself some money. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Once again, download Mojo on your phone right now, available in New Jersey. Check out mojo.com for more information. Let's get into, let's see, we have a little bit of the chat check here. I know we got some of you guys up there on the screen. We talked to you guys already. Let's see, what else do we have here? RJ, I got you. Oh, Pedro. Need to get the offense rolling again. Yeah, I think a 30-point game, the Eagles are due for a 30-point game. I hate the expression they're due, but the Eagles are due for a 30-point game. That's the way I see this game shaping out. Like I said, 31-14, the Eagles win this game. Looking at a couple of different things when it comes to this matchup, to preview it even further, is I would love to see Miles Sanders get going again. I feel like over the last 2 games versus the Commanders and the Colts, I know it's a stupid joke, but it's like, you guys remember Miles Sanders is pretty damn good at football, right? You remember Miles Sanders is having a career year, by the way. And I hate to play Mr. Conspiracy Theory, but it's almost so egregious that they don't use Miles Sanders that it makes me think, well, hold on a second. It's so obvious in the start of games that they should be using Miles Sanders, and they're not using Miles Sanders. It's so obvious that they should, but they're not. It makes me think, like, are they purposely not giving him carries because he's in a contract year? Are they purposely doing that? What the hell's going on here? I'm just saying, conspiracy theory. I have no evidence other than they're not using Miles Sanders enough. And then they come out in the second half of games, they're like, oh, here you go, Miles. And, oh, you're gaining yards now. It's amazing. What if I told you, one of them Johns, yeah, that's the number I was looking for. I knew they were bottom tier. Also, important to note, the Packers do have the 24th ranked run defense, as in bottom 10 in the league. Bad. Another bottom 10. Bottom 10 in scoring points, bottom 10 in stopping the run. So run the ball! Please and thank you. Dankeschön. So that's one thing I definitely want to look at in today's game. Get the offense rolling. I think that could start with Miles Sanders in this game in particular. April! Good morning, April. Thanks for joining the show. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving as well. Thanks for joining the Farzy Show party as well. You and T-Bro. We got T-Bro in here a little earlier. One more thing from Pedro here. I assume this is Jalen Hurts. Yeah. He looks completely in control, and it will only get better. Can you imagine how it will look next Can you imagine how it looked next with more time with his receivers? It's crazy, Pedro. It's hard to imagine it being better. I mean, you're one of the best scoring teams in the NFL. Defensively, you're one of the best scoring teams in the NFL. Your quarterback has himself in the MVP race. A.J. Brown has left a little bit to be desired over the last couple of weeks. Devontae Smith needs to get it going again as well. Want to see Miles Sanders rip off. I want to see this. Here's what I'm looking forward to most with this game. Another week of the tight ends without Dallas Goedert trying to show that they belong. That's what I'm looking forward to. If there's one thing that I'm really going to nitpick over with this game, it's going to be how the tight ends play. Because I need to see Jack Stahl play well. I need to see Grant Calcaterra play well in this game. I actually want to see them come up with plays. Not like a catch in the game, not a flag, not a penalty. I don't want to see them be a detriment. I want to see them be an asset to this team. That's what I want to see ultimately with the tight ends in this game. If I'm going to be watching anything under the microscope, it's going to be the tight ends. Outside the normal of, quarterback and running back and wide receivers and offensive line play in general, defensive line play in general, I'm going to be looking at how the tight ends play this game. Because I think they need to show everyone that they can feel comfortable with them as tight ends. That they can make a play. They can make a key block. They cannot get the penalty. I'm going to see that calm, cool, collected from the tight ends. See how they perform in this game. It's definitely one thing I'm going to be looking at. Oh, April, that's very nice of you. The party was a blast. It was a blast. I had a blast. I will say, so again, if you're just joining the show, we had a little Farzi show party for people that are normally in our chat check. And I sent the link out. People jumped on. We talked. We drank. We had a good time. April was drinking wine out of a pint glass, which is my kind of lady. And I was having a little Tullamore Dew. I don't still have it down here. Because I finished. I did have a goal of finishing. We're unfortunately, the family, we're in the process of trying to get things in order to move. Literally single digits in feet. Like from where the house we're trying to buy, trying to get everything in order. It's like single digits in feet from like the suburbs to the city. So hopefully this works out. But we got a lot going on. So I'm trying to get rid of stuff in the house. And I had this big bottle of Tullamore Dew, like one of them jugs. And I thought there was a lot less in it after I was done the party show. And I went to pour myself what I thought was just the remnants of whiskey. Ended up being another like really full glass. Like I would say it wasn't a single, it wasn't a double, it wasn't a triple. It was probably more along the lines of a quadruple glass of Tullamore Dew. So I ended up having like a one-man party. Like I got done the show and my wife was like, I'm going to bed. And I'm like, well, I'll see you later, toots. And there you go. And you know what I watched? I stayed up and I watched So I Married an Axe Murderer, Mike Myers, phenomenal film. And I just saw it was on Hulu. And I watched So I Married an Axe Murderer. And I laughed my ass off like it was the first time I watched it. It's a phenomenal movie. Phenomenal. One of my favorites of all time. Very underrated film. Very underrated, I think. So I'm really trying to not quote the movie. Especially when Phil Hartman makes his cameo at Alcatraz. It's amazing. And when my wife and I went to Alcatraz a couple years ago, I couldn't help say, okay, I'll say the one line. This way to the cafeteria. All right, anyway. April, you need to do it again on a night when people aren't out with family. True. That is true. I don't disagree. Oh, there we go. April may or may not have finished the bottle that night. Customer service recovery. April, I get it. Let's see. T-Bro, speaking of the Farzi party, let me redeem myself in saying best non-championship Philly sports moment for me would be probably being at the Snow Bowl. That's great. Wow. All right, T-Bro. That's a great one. I was in New Orleans for that game. And I remember Jamie Lynch and I, we were traveling with Sunday Night Football, and we land in New Orleans, and we each get back to the hotel, and we land in New Orleans, get to the hotel, check in, and I call him, and I say, are you watching this? And we turned on the Eagles game, and he was like, holy God. That was just, it was a blizzard. You're playing in a blizzard. And I remember watching that game, and I remember talking to Fred Godelli, the producer of Sunday Night Football, and he said, my daughter called, and his daughter wasn't a big football fan, but he's like, my daughter called me and asked if I was seeing what was going on in Philadelphia. And it was like everyone that had an opportunity to tune in and watch that game tuned in and watched that game. That's how bonkers it was. Wow, and T-Bro, you were there. That's really cool, man. That's the chat check. Appreciate you guys. You guys are fantastic as per usual. Let's get the morning rush. Brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Eagles, Packers, Sunday night, 8:20 kickoff in South Philly. Eagles will be in the blackout, black helmets, black jerseys. It's a blackout. So that's what's going on for that game. Sixers had an unfortunate situation. They lost to the Charlotte Hornets. I didn't really see them coming off the Nets victory and bouncing back, or not bouncing back, but like continuing that success. They did take the L 107-100 to the Hornets. They are back at it tonight, 7 o'clock in Orlando against the Orlando Magic. We'll see how that fares. The Flyers. Hey, remember the Flyers with that team that played hockey and John Tortorella? Well, they're terrible. They're at it tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Odd start time on TNT, 5:30. Let's see. Their losing streak is now up to, is it 8 games yet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They'll try to avoid a 9th straight loss against Pittsburgh Penguins. So there's that. Penguins, by the way, 10-7-3 on the season. Flyers 7-8-5 on the season. So that's what you got right there. There you go. That's the Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. That's the show, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Much obliged. You guys are great. Once again, hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're going shopping today, let's be responsible. Let's be respectful of others. If you're just on Amazon all day, then enjoy your wine. Have a great day, everybody. This is the Farzy Show presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. My name is Mark Farzetta. Have a wonderful weekend. Check with you guys. Sunday night. Don't miss the Jacob Media pregame show with yours truly, Derek Gunn and Seth Joyner, as we'll be previewing Eagles-Packers even closer to kickoff. John McMullen joins us from the stadium as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show. It's over on the Jacob Media YouTube channel, obviously. That's Farzy Show presented by Steven Singer, Steven Singer Jewelers. Have a great day, everybody. Take it easy.